Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Pierre from Salomon Firearms. Today we bring you another segment of SFT Safely Honest Gun Show, where we talk about guns, politics, and the quality of life. So today I want to talk about the Attorney General position that's available here in Mass. This position is up for re-election, and I specifically want to talk about Jay McMahon. He is running against the current AG, which is Maura Healey. Now some of you might be wondering and asking yourself, why do I care about this position? Well, Maura Healey, the current AG, on July 20th of 2016 banned all semi-automatic rifles and shotguns, and since then has been trying to ban a variety of firearms and ammunition and things like that. So if you are a gun owner and you care about protecting yourself, care about protecting your loved ones, and you want to secure your Second Amendment rights here in the state, then this is something that you really want to look into and want to consider. So after speaking, I had a meet and greet with Jay where I was able to interview him personally and was able to ask him a lot of questions about the black community, about the gun community. And after that discussion and a long thought process, I want to publicly endorse Jay. I think that he is the best candidate for this position. I was able to talk to him in detail, and I addressed him. I gave him my concerns, and I liked the answers that he gave me, and I think they were sincere, and I hope that he follows through with that. So for you guys who don't know who Maura Healey is, I'm going to be playing a small segment of what happened a couple years ago to give you a brief description and understanding of what is at stake here. So basically what Maura did was she took people have been buying rifles and shotguns, that weren't deemed assault rifles, right, for decades. And then Maura Healey one day decided and woke up and said, hey, all these firearms, I'm going to reinterpret them as if they are assault weapons. So she basically gave the whole state a 24-hour notice that after today, these guns are going to be illegal. And that is kind of the big pressing issue here, because she used, the question didn't go to vote. The people of Massachusetts weren't able to have a say and vote whether they wanted these guns in the state or not. It was basically something written by the stroke of a pen overnight. And that for me is what really is at stake. I think without the Second Amendment, you can't have anything else, okay? You can't have freedom of speech if you can't protect yourself and defend yourself from others that are going to come and try to infringe on any rights that you have. So I don't believe you can have the first without the second. So yes, I'm going to play a video so you guys can get a little background, and then after that, the interview with me and Jay. This is going to be part one, and I want you guys to take the time to listen and consume all that information. I know we live in an age where, anything beyond a couple minutes, people tune out. But if you are a gun owner, if you are passionate about the ability to protect yourself and your loved ones, I really think this is a lesson. And I really encourage you to go out and vote for Jay when election day comes. I don't think that this is something that you should overlook, especially if you're a gun owner and you care about your rights. So thank you, and I appreciate you guys. And I hope you guys enjoy the video. All right.
These gun manufacturers have marketed these weapons as the legal version of a prohibited gun, but I want to be clear, these weapons are illegal. They are copies or duplicates of banned weapons, and they cannot be bought or sold here in Massachusetts. Today, my office sent an enforcement notice to the more than 350 gun dealers in Massachusetts to offer them direction on this issue, to make clear to them that we now are determining that these copies and duplicates are copies and duplicates banned by our state assault weapons ban. Assault weapons prohibited under our laws cannot be altered in any way to make the sale or possession legal in Massachusetts. My office's actions today will give us the full protection of the state assault weapons ban to do what it was intended to do, and not leave it to the gun manufacturer's self-appointed interpretation. The gun industry doesn't get to decide what's compliant. We do. Our action today is effective immediately. We recognize that many residents have purchased these guns in the past believing that they were doing so legally. So this directive will not apply to guns bought or sold prior to today. Gun dealers who currently have these weapons on hand are not permitted, however, to sell them to Massachusetts buyers. They may transfer them out of state to jurisdictions where sales of these weapons are still legal.
Hello everybody, just want to welcome everyone to the event tonight. We've got a meet and greet with Jay McMahon, who is the Attorney General running against the candidate for Attorney General, predicting the future already, running against Maura Healey. And I wanted to just let everybody know who is here at this table. We are in Sichuan Gardens in Newton on Walnut Street. I've had the privilege of eating their food here. It's phenomenal. I highly recommend it. But first, to let everybody know who's here, we have Ryan Hawks, who is the finance director for Jay McMahon. We have the lovely Shelley McMahon, Jay McMahon's wife. Friend Lauren Christie, myself, Dean Shannon, and of course all of you know Pierre Salomon, and we have Jay McMahon as the candidate.
Good to be here with you tonight.
What we're going to do is we're going to open it up. It's going to be a bit of a free-for-all. We want to make sure that Pierre Salomon gets a chance to talk to Jay about the very specific issues that matter to Pierre and to his community. He and I have had hours and hours of discussion, some of it relatively passionate, but I am confident here today that Pierre will understand what Jay's position is, and if all goes well, be able to walk away supporting Jay McMahon for Attorney General. Pierre, I'd like to open it up to you.
All right, thank you for agreeing to meet with me. Not a lot of candidates will be able to meet with a random stranger.
It's a pleasure to meet with you, and I love the hat. See the hat? I love the hat.
All right, thank you. So I want to start off. I think a lot of people, like for me, the political process was new. So I never cared about the AG position until I heard that Maura Healey was banning guns. Who the hell is this person? What's that position? So as the mass president, what is the AG position, and why should I care who's in there?
Well, I'll tell you what. The Attorney General in any state, well, let me say this, except for a handful of states, the Attorney General is appointed by the governor. But in Massachusetts and most of the other states, the Attorney General is the top elected law enforcement official in the state. What the Attorney General does is set law enforcement policy for the whole state. In other words, what are we going to target? What are we going to work on? And the Attorney General can preempt any criminal case anywhere in the state. So the Attorney General is important because the Attorney General sets law enforcement policy. In our state, Maura Healey has long since gone way over the constitutional bounds. She has appointed herself as a super legislator who has banned wholesale categories of guns in Massachusetts. Me, like most of the people in the Second Amendment community, know for a fact that what Maura Healey did was unconstitutional. So, I can make this real easy. She banned a lot of guns on January 20, 2016. When I get elected as your Attorney General and sworn in the third week in January, on day one, I will rescind and revoke that gun enforcement order notice that she issued on January 20, 2016. And I can do it on my signature because she issued it on her signature. No state representative voted on it. No state senator voted on it. Governor didn't even know it was coming. I agree with everyone in the Second Amendment community. It was illegal, and I'm going to end it.
So is the AG position a political position, or is it strictly law enforcement?
It's a law enforcement position that requires political support to get in. It's elected position. It's what we call a constitutional office. The Attorney General does, in this state, the Attorney General does not answer to the governor, only answers to the people. And I've often said, Maura Healey kicked the ass of the licensed gun owners in Massachusetts, which, by the way, are 600,000 strong. We are going to return the favor on Tuesday, November 6th, by voting for me as Attorney General and throwing her out of office.
All lives matter or Black Lives Matter?
Well, I'll tell you what. It depends on your perspective, doesn't it?
What's their answer?
My answer is Black Lives Matter. And I'll tell you what, I just told you, I'd be willing to help Black lives. I would be willing to help Black lives advance. Now, somebody says, well, what about the ones that are in prison? I don't know if I can undo what has been done in prison. I don't know if I can undo that. I don't know if somebody took a gun and killed somebody. I don't know if I can undo that. How the hell can I undo that? How can some government official, anybody, undo that? How can I undo someone that is selling fentanyl or heroin and it's killing some other person in the hood? How can I undo that? The answer is, I can't undo that.
Well,
But I'll tell you what, I'm concerned about jobs. I'm concerned about their access to the military. I'm concerned about their access to education.
What about non-violent drug offenses? So marijuana is now legalized or decriminalized in the state of Massachusetts. What about all the black men who got imprisoned because of marijuana? What are you going to do about that?
Get them out. There's no need for them to be in jail. I'll tell you right now, if somebody
You're
was...
saying on record you're going to try to get all the non-violent drug offenses dealing with marijuana, black men, or anybody who got caught up in that, you're going to try to get rid of that.
I'm going to go one step further. If somebody is in jail just because they were an opiate addict, I prefer and will help and enhance getting them into rehabilitation. I am not concerned about getting opiate addicts, people who are just opiate addicts, not traffickers, but people who are just an opiate addict. I am not concerned about trying to get them into jail. I want to get them into rehabilitation. Here's the dirty little secret in Massachusetts. Private pay opiate rehabilitation programs are 87% successful. Government programs are 99% failures. I want to get the same quality of rehabilitation program to black lives, just like the rich white guys get when they have become opiate addicts. I want equal access to quality, effective, and successful opiate rehabilitation. And I am committed to that.
I will hold you to that.
I hope you do.
Why should a black woman vote for you instead of Maura Healey?
Because I'm going to protect her right to privacy. A black woman knows, if she's read any of my literature, that her rights are just as important as any other citizen in Massachusetts. I'm going to support her First Amendment right to say what's on her mind. I'm going to support her Second Amendment right to have a license to carry a firearm, whatever she wants. She wants a taser, she can have it. She wants to have, if she feels that a .44 Magnum keeps her safe, she should have the right to have it. She should have the right that any citizen anywhere in the United States would have it. I would support that. I don't know where Maura Healey is on that, but I will tell you this. Maura Healey supported a bill, and she calls it her hallmark, her bill. We call it the bathroom bill. In other words, she will allow men to go into the locker room, the shower room, and the ladies' room of anybody because somebody is fluid and thinks that that day, this male thinks that that day he's a female, he can go in there and gawk at the women, or if he's a sexual offender, or he's on the sexual predators list, and if he's a whatever degree he is, there's nothing in the law right now that keeps him from going in there. And to me, when did women vote to give up their right to privacy? The answer is they never did. And that's why it doesn't make any difference what color they are. They're supporting me wholesale because they know I am sticking up for their rights to privacy.
Let's see what else I have here. What is your stance on reproductive rights?
Everybody has rights and everybody has reproductive rights. The Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts grants a woman her reproductive rights to whatever she wants to do. I am not a super legislator like Maura Healey. I don't change the laws. The job as Attorney General is to enforce the laws and to enforce the rights that are granted to us under the United States Constitution and under the Constitution of the Commonwealth. Whatever those rights are, doesn't make any difference what I feel or believe. I have to enforce those, and I am duty bound. When, like Maura Healey, when I get elected, I'm going to take an oath of office. It will be with a hand on the Bible, the typical hand on the Bible, raise the right hand. I will swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the laws thereunder, the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the laws thereunder. In the Constitution of Massachusetts, there is an article that already grants women the rights over their own body. Even if I don't like that, it doesn't make any difference, because they have that right. And even if Roe v. Wade gets overturned, whenever there is a constitutional right in any state that supersedes the federal government, it's the Constitution of the state that is controlled. I'll give you an example, just so you know, I know what I'm talking about. In Massachusetts, in order to get a search warrant, you have to have reliable information and source information as well. Under the federal Constitution, you only need a totality of the circumstances to say, yeah, we think there's something illegal happening. And what the United States, what the Supreme Judicial Court in Massachusetts has said, under our Constitution, we grant greater rights to suspects in criminal action. You have to know how your informant had, first of all, you have to know how your informant got their information, and has your informant been reliable in the past. Not the totality of the circumstances. We need specifically, because the SJC, the Supreme Judicial Court of Massachusetts, says we grant greater rights to the citizens of Massachusetts than the United States Constitution. Going under that premise, I will do the same for women, and I will also do the same for licensed gun owners.
The reason I asked that was because a close friend of mine, when I was talking about you, she told me that she wouldn't vote for you because you made her feel like she had to choose between her gun rights and the rights to her body. So can you go on record and promise her that you're not going to attempt to make any changes on that based on your personal beliefs?
Let me say this. I don't know why she would have said that. To
Well,
this
she
day,
researched you and then saw that.
can I say to this day, I have made no public statements on abortion, no public statements on reproductive rights. To be honest, I think the press has been lazy. They've never asked me a question about it, but I also think the reason they haven't asked me a question about it is because they know that the Attorney General's office doesn't do anything with that. There's nothing we can do, because we have to honor the Constitution. And the Massachusetts Constitution already grants her that right. Now, she doesn't have to take a choice. She can vote for me on the Second Amendment, because Maura Healey overstepped her bounds on the Second Amendment. She didn't say anything about reproductive rights, and I haven't said anything about reproductive rights. But I have said I am going to restore the Second Amendment rights to all the citizens of the Commonwealth. So she doesn't have to make a choice. If she thinks she has to make a choice because of something I said, she was misled, because I've said nothing. What she can do is vote for me, because I am going to maintain her Second Amendment right. She already has the right in the Massachusetts Constitution. Me, as an Attorney General, cannot change that.
So what do you think about all the recent gun violence in Boston and all the people dying? And what do you think about police relations, and what are you going to do about that?
Okay, you gave me a bunch in just that one sentence, so let me start with the first one. Gun violence. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start enforcing the laws we have in Massachusetts. Right now, for the last 43 years, we have a law called the Bartley-Fox Law. And Bartley-Fox says this: minimum sentencing for each count of illegal possession of a firearm is a 1 year minimum jail sentence. Now, that's the law. If we started enforcing that law, we would start cracking down on gun violence, but we don't. Now, when this law came out, the Bartley-Fox law, the 1 year mandatory minimum jail sentence, It was touted as a superior law in the land. In all the United States, Massachusetts set the lead because we're going to crack down on gun violence. Now that was 43 years ago. And I remember as a young guy driving across like the border from Connecticut or from Rhode Island into Massachusetts or from New Hampshire and Vermont and whatever, in New York. When you crossed the border, there was a sign and it said, warning, mandatory minimum jail sentence, 1 year jail sentence for illegal possession of a firearm. They used to be out there. They're not there anymore, but those signs used to be out there. Do you know how many people were convicted under that law since in 43 years? 2 people. Just 2 people. And yet there have been thousands upon thousands of people charged with illegal possession of a firearms. I am going to make the distinction. There are people who are licensed to carry, and then there are criminals who would take guns and use them for criminal means, and most of those people either file off the serial numbers or do something else, but they are the ones committing the gun violence. Here's an inconvenient truth from Maura Healey and the liberals. The licensed people, and you know this because you're an NRA licensed instructor, right? Okay. Licensed people in Massachusetts, that is, people in Massachusetts who possess a license to carry a firearms, do not commit gun crimes. Did you know that? By and large, they don't commit gun crimes, and not only that, but they are the most law-abiding group of citizens by category, even more than the clergy. Did you know that? That is a truth. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. Even better than the clergy. So, those people don't commit crimes. I don't care what color they are. People that have a license to carry do not commit crimes. And going back to your other room, you said that some chiefs of police are not giving full capacity licenses to carry because for some arbitrary reason. I'm going to end that. I'm going to end that. It's not going to be easy, but I'm going to do it because I my core belief, Second Amendment, people have a right to possess, to keep and possess firearms, and I'm going to make sure they have that right to keep and maintain firearms.
They're closing up at 9:30, just to let you know.
Yeah. So on that topic, I think, yeah, you should lock up people who commit crime, but I think the other half of the issue prior is you have to give people equal opportunity and access to resources. I run into a lot of people of color here that say, oh, I can't get a license because I live in Dorchester, or I can't do this. And there's this misconception that they can't get a license to carry because they live in Boston. And I think that also plays into the issue of illegal gun use because people don't have an easy and clear route to get their license to carry. And I really want to change that environment, and I really want to change the culture because I feel like in the black community, guns is taboo. And you look at another community, and you know, the thing. Oh yeah, my grandfather took me hunting. I learned how to use a firearm when I was,
But Pierre, would you agree with me that those people you're talking about are not the ones committing the gun violence in the city of Boston?
Some of them are. I think that people could be saved if we
But
focus on
are they,
education.
I mean, if they're committing the gun violence, they're going to jail no matter.
Yeah, no, it's too late. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
At that point, it's too late. I also want us to focus on prevention as well.
Right.
So yes, you can convict them when they commit the crime.
Right.
But I also would like to see Boston change their attitude, in the legal aspect and make it easier for people to handle firearms in a safe way.
Well, let me say this. The person who killed the woman in Dorchester, the 22-year-old woman who was sitting in a car, and the person who killed her, I don't know who that was that did it. I don't know yet. Maybe the police know or they don't. But I don't think it's because they didn't have a license to carry a firearms. I think that they were intending to kill somebody no matter what. And that person is going to jail no matter what.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I'll tell you what. You and I have become friends, and you're supporting me. When I become the Attorney General, you're going to let me know how you feel about this. And you and I are going to sit down with a bunch of other, I should say, if I could use this in a good sense, gun people. That is, people who have a license to carry and they are Second Amendment advocates. we're gonna sit down and we're gonna figure it out. Because I agree that the way the licensors are being handled could have a racist element to it. And if it does, you and I have to work that out and stop it. I'm willing to do that. And by the way, you asked if I would go on record. I'm going on record as saying I would be willing to do that. And I'd be willing to do it with you. I like someone who's concerned about their community. I want to help you. I want to help your community. My heart is for the inner city, for the youths of the inner city. I want to see them be able to grow up. I want to see them get a path out if they want a path out. I want them to see them. I want them to be able to go to the military. Because you and I know, because we've been in the military, that they teach you respect for your country and for yourself. And what that translates into is respect for family. I want to see that happen.